All right, we're back. We're back. I think we're back in full effect. If you're coming back in, be sure to leave a comment. Let me know if you can see, if you can hear me. We are back on live. Let me know if you can see, me. I say cannot see you. I'm not sure how that's possible. See people coming in. Come on in the building if you can see me and hear me. Leave a comment. It's greatly appreciated. All right. Now come on back in the room. All right. All right, y'all. We're back. Talk Sports Live. Talking Memphis Tigers basketball. Talking about last night's game. Just getting in the groove of everything. That stuff is so annoying with technical difficulties, but it is what it is. Not going to let that stop the show because, and I see now, shout out to Turner Sports blocking my video. So that was happened to the last joint. Was I guess TNT said that footage of the game belonged to them. So, you know, whatever. So anyway, nonetheless, come on in the room. If you're watching, go ahead and share this video also. Make sure y'all can get back in here. I'm sharing it as we speak. That's why I'm partially distracted. But it's all good in the hood again. If you're coming in, let me know that you can see and hear me well. And we're going to continue this conversation about Tigers basketball from last night. Because Lord knows, Turner can't have people talking about the games on that TV station. And, you know, I don't know if they think they're going to lose ratings to Talkback Live. That's a very weird thing. But nonetheless, it is what it is. As we follow the rules of this weird social media age. So anyway, and those of y'all that are watching, go ahead and share the video. Also, let people know that I'm back on, so we can get everybody back in there and in the conversation. So we were having a good one about what happened last night. One that might have hurt, one that we probably didn't completely enjoy, meaning the conversation, but that needed to be had. Were the Tigers, and I see got the question back on the screen here. I'm sliding it over. Y'all can see the entire question. Were the Memphis Tigers robbed of victory last night by the refs? And I put that question out because there have been some folks out there that say just the very thought, or they even to put the question out there that the Tigers were robbed by the referees is pathetic, because the Tigers self-inflicted those wounds themselves. That it's the Tigers' fault they lost, not the refs' fault that they lost. Is that true? Is it not true? I definitely have my opinion on it. But I want to hear what you guys have to say. Now, I'm going back to the last video because I had several of y'all, and some of y'all that probably not come back in yet, that gave some comments in the previous video, which is, again, why I'm so annoyed. But moving past that, GKP, you had put in the last video that you crushed me bad, fam. Crushed me bad, that loss. He brought up Darius Washington Jr. Verdell came in. Bob said this was the Tigers team. Everyone expected to try to take it all the way. Verdell says we were saying ow because of the owls. Yeah, clever, but true. GKP says I cried in the car like Debo took my chain. Verdell says yes, very much. We were robbed. It's like Fred Sanford said, we were robbed. GKP said not highway robbery, Hardaway robbery. Verdell says that was a timeout, not a jump ball. Bob said both refs, but they didn't play well. GKP says also Kendrick Davis should have never made that pass. Well, one thing I do know, I'm not going to show y'all the video again because I'm not going to get cut off for that. But y'all saw what happened last night. Y'all saw the Kendrick Davis pass that was intercepted at half court. And I kind of wonder what the man was thinking. Now, look, so much happened at the end of that game. It's almost hard to recap as we sit right now, but I'm going to try to do a little bit for y'all. But a lot of y'all that saw the game, you know. And again, if you're just coming in the room, shout out to you. Appreciate the like. If you hadn't hit that like button, go ahead and do so. But also, comment in the comment section, were the Memphis Tigers robbed of victory by the referees last night? Leave your thoughts and comments, and we're going to continue to discuss it. But as far as everything else, so I feel like the crazy stuff started happening. The whole game was crazy. So, but in the ending sequence, when Kendrick Davis got hurt, the Tigers' starting point guard and leading scorer, Kendrick Davis, hurt his ankle on a three-point attempt in which he landed on a FAU player's ankle, a foot or whatever, and had to come out of the game and scared the mess out of me and every other Tiger fan because we thought we were seeing the season end right before our very eyes. But Davis was writhing in pain. He was basically crawling over to the bench, and he was so frustrated. He was throwing things. He was thinking, this is it. I can't go back out there. I want to be there for my teammates. All of that stuff. His family's in attendance. All that stuff you just can't make up. Then you see him arguing with Malcolm Dandridge on the sideline. You see them kind of pushing each other. You see the bench in the middle of a timeout having to get separated from each other. And I'm sitting there watching like, what the heck is going on? I thought Davis was just mad because he's hurt. Now he's about to fight Malcolm Dandridge. It reminded me, and I'm not sure it's going to rise to the level of that because we still don't quite know what happened. And I don't know if we ever will really know what happened. But if y'all remember an NCAA tournament game years ago, Will Barton and Chris Crawford, the Josh Pastner coach team, and it really just came to me, this situation and circumstance. Josh Pastner and Chris Crawford, not Josh, but Will Barton and Chris Crawford arguing on the bench, getting into it, about to get into a fight, whatever you want to say. And it seemed like from that point on, the game was lost because the chemistry on the court deteriorated. The agendas seemed to change, and they just couldn't get back what they had. And Josh Pastner team, they lost to St. Louis in that NCAA tournament game, coached by the late Rick Majerus. I remember that, and that just kind of came to me just now. Did that have something to do with it? Did Penny Hardaway do a poor job of managing those circumstances? Or is that up to the players to get themselves together and not let the moment get too big and crumble the entire team? Looking at some of the comments here, GKP says he's back in here. Appreciate you, man. He also says Williams had just saved Kendrick with that putback score they gave us the lead. He did. I remember because Davis, he came back out there on the hurt ankle, which he's a tough kid. I love Kendrick Davis. He's one of my favorite Tiger point guards probably in years, to be honest, with what he's done this year. But I hate the way it seemed like his Tiger career ended on such a sour note. Because you got people kind of questioning his motives in certain things. Not that he didn't. Of course he wanted to win the game. But it's just, I don't know. GKP says Hollywood moment. Basically, you can make a movie out of that last 2 minutes. Bob says great season, but you need to beat who you're supposed to. Yeah? You're not wrong. GKP says Dandridge didn't play anymore after that, which cost us on the rebounds. That's the thing, man. And look, I know nobody wants to criticize Penny, and I'm not saying fire the guy. I'm not being stupid here. Penny's done a great job. I think this year has probably been his best job as a coach. Consistently. To me, there's no question that this has been his best coaching job of his career. Consistently having his team be where they need to be. But the question is, this game in particular, what happened? What caused things to crumble? I heard Penny Hardaway after the game in the post-game presser said they lost focus or whatever. Ooh, excuse me. It's late. Said they lost focus. I don't know it. I don't know, man. I don't know. When you say lose focus, what do you mean? That can mean so many things. What did you lose focus on? Who lost focus and why? GKP said, let's just say it. Kendrick did too much at the end of the game. I think so. The man tried to be the hero, and this is why I'm conflicted. I get it, because he's been the hero in so many games this year. Think about the game-winning shot he hit earlier in the year. You know, in so many big moments, big games, big shots he's hit, big moments, big scoring performances this year for Kendrick Davis in big games. But you also have to have the self-awareness to know if you just ain't got it. And to go to the other man, DeAndre Williams. And here's the other thing. Bringing up Dandridge, who didn't come in the game after that incident with him and Kendrick Davis. Should that be put into question? And I ask that question because what happened at the end of the game? What was the play that cost the Tigers with 1 second left? An easy drive to the rim by Florida Atlantic. Easy layup at the front of the rim. Malcolm Dandridge is the biggest guy on the team, who had previously, up to that point, played a really good game protecting the rim, being big, being an enforcer, being physical down low. And on the last play, where you know a layup can beat you, he's nowhere to be found. At that point, whatever problems there are between Davis and Dandridge, that stuff can be settled after the game. You don't sit a guy because he has an issue with a player. If anything, you either sit both of those guys or you sit neither one of them. And because they're both too important to the team, you sit neither one of them, in my opinion. And I think it cost him. And it's not a fireable offense by Penny, but I think you have to be honest. That decision cost him the game. It really did. So when it comes to the question again, were the Memphis Tigers robbed of victory by the referees last night? I think yes, but I think only partially. The referees were not totally responsible for that loss. And it took me a minute to come to that conclusion, because immediately after the game, all I felt was refs. Because the last thing is imprinted on my mind is that image I showed you in the previous video of that one referee looking right past two Tigers in his face, attempting to call timeout and ignoring it. And there's people locally and more so nationally that think the referees did a deplorable job in that instance. So it's not just homers. It's not just Memphis people that think that was bad. Most people feel like that was the most controversial moment up until this point in the NCAA tournament. Something that's going to be talked about from here going forward. So, I don't know, man. But that's a rough way to lose. You saw Penny Hardaway. He threw his water bottle across the floor when the buzzer sounded. And I completely, I know people want to criticize Penny for that. I'm not. I really don't. I don't, man. I mean, you saw him being real. He didn't throw it at a fan or nothing. He just threw it to an empty area in frustration because, man, these things are emotional. Basketball is emotional. The NCAA tournament, March Madness, it's emotional. You want to win. And Penny wants to advance in the tournament. And I think he knows this team had a chance to do something special. And to see it crushed and stomped out in a moment is just, it really is. But y'all continue to late, man. We're gonna move forward a little bit here. How do you feel going in the next season when it comes to the Memphis Tigers basketball? Now, these guys are not gonna be. Oh, excuse me, y'all. A lot of y'all probably doing the same thing as me, so we're being open here on Talkback Live. Something I definitely try not to do with the yawning. But next year, most of these guys are going to be gone. Kendrick Davis, he's gone. He's a senior. Alex Lomax, gone. 6-year senior. Gone. Graduated. DeAndre Williams, gone. 20-year senior, probably. DeAndre Williams is, 27 years old? He's gone. I don't think he has another year of eligibility he could pull out of his socks. You know? Who else? I mean, a lot of these transfers only had a year of eligibility. I don't know if Keontae Kennedy can pull out another year of eligibility because of his injury. Who knows when it comes to that, but we'll see. Jay says Penny was ready to whoop them tricks. Memphis style last night. Now, Jay, I would assume those tricks, those sad tricks would be the referees. I don't know. I think some of the water got in one of the referee's eyes. So I don't know if that was intentional or not. But nonetheless, even after the game, Penny wasn't talking about no refs. He was focused on his team and what they did to lose. And I think that's we'll see. But heartbreaking stuff if you're a Tiger fan. And we'll see what happens. But going to the phone lines. Since now I got the phone lines up and running. They inevitably got hung up on. Let me try to put a call out. So on this show, we don't mind calling our callers. Hold on. He says we already know who this. Who is this? What's up? I'm up, man. I'm up. I'm up. I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? I had a little yawn fit hit me out of nowhere, but I'm ready, man. Yeah, man. Look, you my inspiration for being up tonight. I ain't gonna lie. I know you probably getting ready to do your own thing tonight, so I'm gonna get out your way here in a minute. I feel you. I feel you. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. If we might have lost GKP there, the signal went out a little bit. I don't know. Had some people said they couldn't. Oh, yeah. Oh, you can. Okay, okay. See the call. I see Bob in the comments say you can't hear the caller. So y'all let me. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah, man. Let me. Yeah, we'll catch up, man. I want the people to hear your stuff, man. But I appreciate you. No doubt. It's GKP as we continue to work with this stuff here. Even looking here, I see that the mic is connected to the phone system, but for some reason we've had that issue for a minute here. So see if we can get that together. I think some of that has to do with the internet, to be personally honest with you. So nonetheless, we're here at Talk Sports Live. I see some more people starting to come in as well. Give me your thoughts. We got a few more minutes here. Were the Memphis Tigers robbed of victory by the referees last night? A lot of people with a lot of different opinions about it. Some people feel no, the Tigers threw the game away. And look, I think there's truth to both, because if you watched, I did play the clip a little earlier. Kendrick Davis threw that ball straight to Florida Atlantic. As much as we the situation with the timeouts that occurred, he threw that ball away. I don't have a clue what he was doing, and I'm not sure if he knew either. Um, at the end of that game, very frustrating to watch. Um, just to see all that hard work and it gets just kind of thrown away. So we'll see, man. But here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try to do something here and get you guys some footage of Penny Hardaway after the game. Now, this will not get copyrighted because it doesn't belong to Turner Sports like the previous situation. But I want y'all to see what Penny, Kendrick Davis, and DeAndre Williams had to say after the game last night. And maybe this could show some answers to what exactly was going on. So here is the footage of the press conference.
affiliation with each time you ask a question. And lastly, no video recording in this room. Thank you. And with that, Coach Hardaway, any remarks?
Yeah, game from start to finish, and more layup for the win. You're talking about hanging your head on defense, and we needed one stop and couldn't get that one stop. It's not one person's fault. There's a lot of things that happened throughout the game that helped put them in position in the game. We just didn't get it done.
We'll now open it up for questions for players first, please. Raise your hand and we'll get your microphone.
Terry Davis, tri-state defender. Penny, when you guys were, you sound like you was up majority of the second half. What turned to let that little advantage get away in the second half?
Complacency. Complacency got them back in the game. We got up things. We gave up a 3, couple fouls in the paint. We came on the other end, didn't make shots to capitalize on anything that we had, and they got back into the game. We had plenty of opportunities to go ahead and seal the deal. At the end, we had the ball up 2. It was up 2. Oh, up 1. Yeah, up 1. We had a turnover. Then we got the ball back. We should have called timeout. We didn't call timeout. Then they get a drive right after that. But before that, it was a 3 in the corner. It was layup. It was another big. It was made every shot that they were supposed to make. And I think it lost like that. The other team has made every big play to win that game, to hang around, and we didn't.
Adam Drake, the Columbus Dispatch. Kendrick, I know difficult moment and a difficult situation. I wonder if you can try to put into words what is going through your head right now and what it feels like to be kind of coming to grips with what happened.
I can hear you at all.
Sorry. I just wondered, obviously this is an emotional, difficult moment, and these are always hard situations to kind of work your way through mentally. But what are you feeling right now, and what is it like to be processing what took place?
Yeah, it's a heartbreaker. But all year to put ourselves in this position, and we didn't start with me turnover. You think about you could have done him.
Kendrick, can you take us through what happened there on the bench with you and Matt after you turned your ankle there?
Nothing. I mean, just teammate passionate. That's it. We was talking more mad that he fell on ankle, and we was, trying to get to the refs to let them know, feel like if that would have happened on the other end, they would have caught that. So we was frustrated about it.
And then, DeAndre, your perspective on that. Finally, did you see the defense breakdown?
My teammate just basically we talked in the huddle before. We was like we wasn't gonna give up a layup. We was gonna give up a 3 before a layup, and Elijah unfortunately, ran him off the line, and I kind of wanted to help and block that, but it happened too, and it was locked in, and they made a huge play at the end.
Right here.
Terry, as a defender. Penny, when you put DeAndre back in with almost 14 minutes left in the game, what type of confidence you put him in there to see that, to make sure he didn't get that 5th foul?
Yeah, I knew he had to play. It was at a point where we were trying to push away from them, and I knew that, with him on the floor would help us push away from him. So I had the confidence he wouldn't still go back out there and do what he needed to do.
Jeff Calkins from the Daily Memphis. Question for Kendrick and for Penny. For Penny, you said you didn't get to call the timeout. Ayla was trying to call the timeout. Did you have a sense that he should have been granted the timeout?
Absolutely. If he called it before they called the jump ball, if he called timeout, then that's the timeout. But hey, that's the way it works.
And for Kendrick, what's going to stay with you? This moment, the year? As you look back on this now that it's over?
I'm not sure yet. We done lost another heartbreaker. If you follow, we done lost them. I really, it's gonna take me time to reflect, and then I maybe can answer that in a week
Last one for the players.
A guy like Kendrick will play all season and just kind of has a rough moment there. What tell him for that?
I mean, you mean the ankle? Oh, well, yeah, I mean, he's a veteran. He understands. Still got to get a stop. You know, he understands in that case. Like he said, he probably ran it through his mind a few times on how he could have handled it differently. And what it is, you gotta learn from those situations. That's all you can say. And next time you're in that situation, just handle it better.
DeAndre, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Coach, if you could stick on for a few more.
Oh, all right.
Thank you. Over here on the right.
Penny, does the way it's ending change how you'll think about this season?
Yeah, because the end goal is where we are right now. We had a good season, a good to great season, but it ended in a first round knockout. And the way it ended makes it way more sour for me. That's just how I look at it.
Here in the back.
Ty Belcher, Kent Wyatt. Hardaway, you guys were able to accomplish one of your goals, which was winning the American Conference. But with your ending tonight in the first round, well, the second round of the NCAA tournament, what will you take away from this season going into next season to try and go further and accomplish the next step in y'all's goal, which is ultimately the national championship?
Yeah, it's a lot to take away from it. I guess one thing I could say is, you know, to just adjust some things in June and July when we get ahead of the game, because this group didn't really start doing some things that we needed back in June and July until January, February. So for me, June and July are going to be big months for our team and continuing to push this culture in the right direction.
Next, we'll head to Zoom.
Penny, you talk about doing this for the city, and your student athletes talked about that too, that it's not just for Memphis, the entire city. What do you want to say to the city right now when there has been a lot of success this season, and obviously this is hard at this moment?
Yeah, I definitely want to just tell the city thanks for being behind us. That AAC championship was a big jolt that we needed in the city. And the fans, I'm sure they had a ton of watch parties today. And just the high of winning the AAC and then the lows of losing this game. You know, just appreciate the fans for hanging in there with us all season long and fighting with us. And for the fans that traveled, so much for traveling to the AAC championship and to here.
Here in the blue shirt next. Right behind you. Nope. Mike's behind you. Jayla.
What was your perspective on the exchange between Kendrick and Malco? And did that throw anyone off at all, or was it?
I think it's just teammates just in the heat of the battle. You know, he hurt his ankle, and you know, Malcolm was talking about, you know, the fouling and all that. So I was trying to lock in on what I needed to lock in on, and really didn't get into it. But I know that they were really both competitive at that time.
Penny, when you think about this game, to talk to about this with Kendrick's ankle, Drake getting the foul trouble, and then the play where Jaden, everyone thought he was calling timeout, everyone thought all you guys were calling out, and they give the ball to them instead.
I mean, we just have to do better. That's all I can say. I understand clearly, you know, things work. We have to be in the next team. Every single game, we got to go out and be 5 times better. We cannot be equal. We know that. We got to play harder defense. We got to make more shots. We got to defend without fouling.
Last coach right here. Our last question.
Terry Davis, Tri-State Vendor. Penny, the way you structured this team this year versus what you've done in the past, are you going to try to do a blended, or are you going to try to do this? Because this was probably one of your better teams And I know you like to get the high power recruit to get the buzz and all like that, but it sounds like you have more success, type of team.
Yeah, I think it just happened by coincidence. We got in the portal. We ended up getting 4 players that I really didn't recruit really hard, that they really wanted to come to the university, and I was getting to know them as the season went on. That might be this year. I'm looking to be older, but there is a little blend of young players plus, the older players, and that seems to work as well.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Here it is, Coach Penny Hardaway. After the game last night, Memphis losing to Florida Atlantic in dramatic fashion. And, I think if you watch that, you got to commend Penny on his mindset after everything, because us fans, we do what fans do, and that's panic and freak out, and everything's wrong. And, I guess that's maybe what we're supposed to do as fans, right? But when you're the coach, you can't be that guy. You can't be out here freaking out with the fans. You can't be, and if you are, you can't show it, at least. And I think Penny, in a press conference like this, you see the growth in him as a coach from what we've seen in years past, in situations and things like that, at least in my opinion. So I think he handled that well. Made a lot of sense. You look at that situation with Malcolm Dandridge and Kendrick Davis, with all that stuff going on at one time, the young guys kind of losing it, getting upset with the fouls at the same time, getting upset with the injury at the same time, Penny trying to draw up a play and getting everybody to focus. That stuff can happen. Stuff can definitely happen. So it's one of those things, you don't want the season to end that way, but it is a shame. But before I get out of here, I want to kind of shift gears and kind of give my thoughts out on this. So I just want to get down what I think about it. And again, I'll leave the question up. Do you think the Memphis Tigers robbed of victory by the refs last night? But and it's the Memphis Grizzlies. Now the Grizz have been seeming like they're kind of getting back to the Grizzlies that we know tonight. Big win over the Golden State Warriors. In pretty convincing fashion. A Warriors team that desperately needed a win. They weren't able to get it. And despite all that, they still want to talk about their 4 championships. If I'm the Grizzlies, I don't give a care about your 4 championships in this moment. One of the things that annoys me, before I get to the Ja Morant stuff, one of the things that really annoys me is this thing about you got to respect champions. You don't talk like that to a champion. People were talking about Dillon Brooks saying he didn't like Draymond Green. This is going back to the situation, with Draymond podcast talking about Dillon Brooks. Draymond, of course, is a power forward for the Golden State Warriors. Has won 4 championships with the Warriors. Is on the team currently. The Warriors are kind of struggling this year. They're fighting to make the playoffs, but they still got stars and they got a lot of respect. So Draymond's like, well, Dillon Brooks is an idiot. His own teammates don't like him. And the Grizzlies don't become a championship contender, essentially, until Dillon Brooks is gone. Then the next night, the Grizzlies play the Warriors at FedEx Forum. Dillon Brooks famously gets in Draymond's face after hitting a layup right on top of him, showing that he's not backing down. After the game, the Grizzlies win against the Warriors. Dillon Brooks says, hey, I appreciate Draymond talking about me on this podcast, using me to get his podcast numbers up, and taught them that Draymond's podcast is cute. So I love all of that. And then you got people in the national media saying that the Grizz talk too much. They're talking about a champion. You don't talk like that to a champion. Who cares if you're a champion? if you're a fan, maybe you can say that. Okay, you're a fan, they're a champion. You can't talk about that champion like that because you're not even in the same sport. Maybe you can say that even though that's not the case as well. But this whole stupid crap about a team that's trying to, in the Grizzlies, that's trying to compete for a championship, that you can't talk about that champion when that champion's talked about all sorts of junk about you. But suddenly you're disrespecting a champion. That's a 4-time champion. You can't talk because you ain't won a championship. Since when can I not say anything to my opponent because I haven't done what they've done? Trying to get to that point, yeah. But does that mean I can let them piss all on my head and say, oh, you're a champion? No. I'm going to get up and smack you in the mouth. I ain't trying to hear that stuff. I hear the Stephen A. Smiths. I hear the Shannon Sharps. I hear all these fools. These people I like to listen to, by the way. I'm not saying they're fools on anything, but on everything. But in this situation, they sound like some fools. You don't talk about a champion. That's the dumbest crap I've ever heard. I've been wanting to speak on this for so long. And I'm so glad the Grizz don't let this stupid stuff from the national media, the Kendrick Perkins, the Stephen A's, the Shannon Sharps, saying you don't talk about champions like that. What champions right now? I think they've lost 11 straight on the road. I think the Warriors have one of the worst road records in the NBA. I think the Warriors might not even make the playoffs if they're not careful. But then they want to talk about their 4 championships. Klay Thompson. Shout out to Klay Thompson. Another one of those 4 champions that everybody keeps talking about with the Warriors that lost to the Grizz again for the second straight time tonight. Right before I went live tonight. So Dylan Brooks doing his talk. He had a great game. 18 points. He went 4-4 from 3. He's been playing some of his best basketball since the Draymond Green podcast talking about him, which I sincerely thank Draymond for that. But all that being said, so when the game was out of reach tonight, and I got the clip up here. I played it before the show, before some of y'all even came in the room, so I'm going to replay it here. In case y'all didn't catch it, I caught this on the Valley Sports feed, and I'm glad I was able to find it online. Dylan Brooks, and I could tell Pete Pranik and Brevin might not even caught it while they were talking. But if you notice, Klay Thompson sitting on score here, the Grizzlies are up 133 to 117. It's a clear destruction, the Grizzlies, of the defending NBA champion Golden State Warriors. And watch.
The entire night.
Watch how this
develops. There's going to be a foul here on Kenny Lofton Jr. More free throws for the Warriors. But
do you see that's Klay Thompson right there with what he's got going on there? He's throwing up 4 fingers, and you see he did it twice. It's like he's counting 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's talking to Dylan Brooks, and Dylan is on the other side there on the Grizzlies bench. Klay is saying, hey, man, we got 4 titles.
Because of that physical defense.
Steph Curry is looking like, well, we lost again.
It wears you down. It gets into your legs. But what it also does is it makes you try to do a
He's telling Dylan, you ain't even got 1.
little bit more. And with that doing a little.
That was so funny about it. Let me go back to Klay's face. Here. It's a certain point. Does that not look like a defeated man? Does that not look like a man that just got whooped? Possibly a whoop trick, perhaps. But it just got whooped again by the Grizzlies for the second straight time. And he knows, that's a man that knows his only defense at this point is to throw up those 4 rings. Those 4 little rings that they did work hard for. 2 of them A lot of people can say were won by Kevin Durant. You can, take that with whatever grain of salt you want. But the point is this. You throw up those rings on your fingers all you want. But we're talking about the here and now. And right here and right now, the Grizz have whooped the Warriors 2 straight times. And what's interesting, everybody wants to say that nobody can do any talking, that the Grizz are the only ones that are thinking about the Warriors. The Warriors ain't thinking about the Grizzlies. The Grizz have that mentality, that everybody's thinking about them. They ain't arrived, all this stuff. What happened as soon as the Warriors won their title? They didn't play the Grizzlies for the title. They played Boston for the championship. They played the Grizzlies in the second round of the playoffs, and the Grizz gave them their toughest test. But they beat the Celtics. So after the Warriors beat the Celtics in the NBA Finals last year, what was the first thought on Klay Thompson's mind in the press conference? Jaren Jackson Jr. of the Grizzlies and his tweet and how the Grizzlies talk so much and calling them a bum. That's when this all got started. It didn't get started by the Grizzlies talking junk. The Grizzlies were at home chilling, working out for the next season. Looking at TV and hearing a 4-time champion spending the whole press conference talking about the Grizzlies. And now that the Grizzlies want to respond, now they say, you young boys need to sit down and shut up. No. They don't need to do nothing but keep whooping them like they're doing right now. You got Draymond out here talking about, how Dillon Brooks gets technical fouls like an idiot. Meanwhile, Draymond and Dillon Brooks are number 1 and number 2 in the NBA in technical fouls. That's neither here nor there. So anyway, that's just some of my thoughts. I got a lot more I could say because I've been waiting to talk about that for a week. Let me put this up here. Verdell, you just stay on it, man. Verdell says that bum, Jaren Jackson, dropped 31 points on their heads tonight. Exactly. Don't think Jaren wasn't hearing that over and over. That's why, and I was just watching the game with somebody, and I'm like, do you see how Jaren, and even during the game, you heard Brevin Knight say he never seen Jaren screaming for the ball, demanding the ball, give me the ball. Did you see the aggression he was playing with? Driving to the rim, posting up, shooting threes, shooting the mid-range, going off the dribble to the rim. That's the Jaren I want to see more often. I feel like he's been showing that more. But calling for the ball, Jaren is that type of player. He ain't a bum. That bum had 31 points. That bum sent several of Draymond's shots into the third row tonight. So, yeah, man. And no, GKP, those are not the rules. Those are the rules, Josh. You can't talk about a champion. No, those aren't the rules. Those are stupid rules. The only people that say that are people that won titles. And respecting them for winning championships. I'm not belittling that. But, you win a title and you think you're invincible. You think nobody that aspires to beat you can say anything to you. That's not the case. And you should expect that. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You win the crown, you better expect people are going to want to come for the crown. And the Grizz are not going to be silent about coming for the crown. So with that being said, those are just some of my thoughts. Now, another rant I want to go on, because it's been pent up for a while. The Ja Morant coverage over the last couple weeks. Let's get into this. Ja Morant has turned into, according to the media, Ja Morant, hey GKP, Ja Morant has turned from a fan favorite, a guy that talks trash on the court that everybody loves, that brings back that style of play, the killer instinct, young up-and-coming star in the league, a guy everybody can't wait to watch, to somebody who, if I'm watching these shows correctly, is a gang member, a potential murderer, a juvenile delinquent, a thug, a thief, a robber, a killer, a stealer, a hustler, a drug dealer. That is what I would think if I'm watching some of these shows, and that he's hanging out with the Crips, the Bloods, the Vice Lords, and every other gang that's ever existed. I'm annoyed. Now, I know my first show I did on the Ja Morant situation, I said Ja was being stupid. He made a stupid decision because of all that money he's got on the line, and he's about to be a face of this league. He made a stupid decision, and he did. But guess what, y'all? It happens. You move forward. You move on. You take accountability. He does the interview with Jalen Rose. I watch it. Okay. I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe this will cool some of this down. If anything, it sped it up. Now you got people saying the NBA is colluding with Ja Morant and the Grizzlies and the government to put over this thuggish hip-hop image that they want to convey to black boys and young men in America. I heard that on Jason Whitlock's show. You had Royce Wright on there. You had the same Royce Wright that's scared, that had a potential, that was a very good college player at Iowa State, who is not playing pro basketball. You know why? Because he's scared to get on a plane. That Royce Wright, who's now, for some reason, is a quasi-conspiracy theorist / political sports analyst on Jason Whitlock's show that I don't watch. I saw them talking about Ja Morant, and I saw Royce White sitting in a dark room. If I wish I could I was near my light switch, I'd show you how Royce White, looking like Ghost off Power, sitting in a dark room with a spotlight, talking about how this is a conspiracy with Black America and the NBA to make black men go to jail. This is real, people. It's a real joke. What are we doing? What are we talking about? I see Shannon Sharp talking about, Ja, you need to break up with all your friends. I see Stephen A. talking about how he doesn't think the interview did that much, and also how the fact that he shouldn't have said what he said, that what he should have said, this is paraphrasing some of what Stephen A. said in a conversation with Jay Williams, who's also a joke. But I heard Stephen A. said, this is what Ja Morant should have said. He's literally said, Ja should have said, instead of saying, I'm okay, I'm dealing with my situation, he said, Ja should have said, well, I still got a lot of problems I'm dealing with, but hopefully when I'm able to come back, that all of these problems I got are going to be continued to be worked on. So you want Ja to get up there and say, I still got all the problems, but I'm going to play anyway. That's what you want him to say. Instead of saying, hey, I've put all this behind. This is stupid. Stupid. You got Jay Williams talking about, I ain't never heard nobody go into counseling for less than a week. You know, I heard Jay Williams says less than a week. I heard Kendrick Perkins say Ja went in there for a couple of days. I saw Shannon Sharp say he went in there for a couple of days. I heard Ja Morant say he was in counseling for 2 weeks. How long you want the man to be in counseling? Do you want him to do like Tiger Woods did when he was called? Tiger Woods said he's a sex addict and go to a facility of intense rehab. I don't know what you do for intense rehab for being a sex addict. You know what I'm saying? You want to do what Tiger Woods did? Do you want him to go to the Mayo Clinic and stay there for a year? Like some type of lunatic? Does he need to go to crack cocaine rehab to make you feel better? The stupidity is maddening to me of people that you normally like to excuse me, normally like to watch. It's nuts. It's nuts. I see so much stupidity. I see Skip Bayless said he saw John Morant throwing up the crib sign on the basketball floor. What? You're saying this on national TV? I'm not saying people can have opinions about what they think they see, but to insinuate somebody's a gang member, what? Is it really coming to this? Really? It really ticked me off. It does. And it still does. And what makes it worse to me, you got black folks saying this. You got black folks in prominent positions saying this. You got Grizzly fans saying this. I seen a whole argument on Facebook about it. They're mad that Ja did the interview. Sitting up here saying John Morant, oh, this is clearly staged and scripted. Why did he do this? Why didn't he do an unstaged, unscripted interview where he can make all sorts of mistakes, incriminate himself, and go to jail? How dare he control his situation? We want Ja to speak the truth. We want Ja to say that was his gun and go to jail. Okay. That's smart. How dare Ja, who's worth potentially hundreds of millions of dollars, have a PR agency handle his son of a crisis? And look, I don't doubt there's PR involved. I ain't saying Ja was lying in his interview, but to me, I thought he was pretty open about everything. I really did. I really did. It would be different if he got up there and said, I didn't do anything. I did nothing wrong. He didn't. He said he was wrong. He said his actions cause everything that's going on right now. What else do you want him to say? I saw, and I guess what makes me upset, you got a lot of these sports shows that I like to watch with black men on it, saying some of the dumbest things when it comes to this situation. It really surprises me. It does. Maybe it shouldn't, but it does. There's a show, Brother from Another, airs on Peacock, NBC Sports. Michael Smith, who used to do the show with Jamel Hill on ESPN back in the day, they hosted the City Center, and previously they did the Numbers Never Lie thing, all that stuff. So he has a show on NBC Sports. And they were talking about it. And you know what? Let me do this. Let me do this. I want y'all to hear it. I'm not going to be able to show it because this internet is acting very idiotic right now. But I want to play something for y'all. Let's see. And this is in real time, folks. So let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Here we go.
Gun Willies, I've been there. You are holding a gun.
Here it is.
And we both know how dangerous that can be. Who's gun were you?
The gun. You know, it's not who I am. I don't condone any type of violence. But I take bad mistake. I can see the image that I painted with my recent mistakes. But in the future, I'm gonna show everybody who I really is. What I'm about, and change this narrative.
What has the last 10 or 11 days been like for you, and how are you doing?
Me personally, feel mentally good that I haven't, been in years. I'm in a space where I feel very comfortable. I was constantly, talking to therapists. I've been doing, Reiki treatment. I've been doing anxiety breathing, different stuff to, help me manage that and release, all that stuff from my body.
When did you say it necessary?
Now that I made a, terrible mistake, being inside a club and live, I put myself in, a bad position. And also it's, my daughter, it's time to tell me if she's, had a bad day. And I felt like, if she can tell me that, then, I can be able to go and talk to somebody as well.
Hey, Nat. This isn't necessarily exclusive for Ja, but it's just one thing that jumps out to me when people get caught and they come at us with the canned PR statement. That's not who I really am. Mm-hmm. But I want to grow up. If you want to move past this, if you want to really learn from this, you got to own the fact that that is who you really are. That was you on camera. It was not an imposter. That is who you are, Ja. And there are too many recent examples, both reported and unreported, that support that this is who you are. Now, it's not who you need to be for your own good and others. And it may not be, and it shouldn't be who you want to be. So own it. This is who you are, and you need to be better than who you've been. Unless and until you can do that, you're going to make different forms of the same mistakes over and over again, Nat. And the last thing I say before I pass to you, Nat, is like the number of games and even the retroactive time served doesn't bother me. I've never been one of these people that think that you can learn your lesson. There's a minimum number of games that it takes to learn your lesson. 8 games is fine with me as long as he's actually got his dome straight.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned because the idea that he went to counseling, and at least by the reports, he's checked himself out of counseling. He's not in it anymore. I mean, everything he was saying sounded great, but sort of as you alluded to, I mean, it's not about a minimum number of games. It takes time to make that kind of change. Like if you've displayed certain habits and you've behaved a certain way, like it's not going to change overnight. So I get, look, the NBA is a business and I get the need. It's like, all right, you want to get him back so he can play. But I'm just a little concerned about this approach that's being taken. I'm not sure he's out of counseling already. I'm just not sure that he's the issue is going to resolve. And I'm worried that there could still be more incidents to come in the future.
Oh, that's interesting. And you know what, Nat and Michael, I don't think this is a situation, for Ja Morant, for this 8-game suspension. A lot of times when there's a suspension, a lengthy suspension, there are fans who have some really strong opinions about it. And there are a lot of fans who will be against the player. I don't get the sense that a lot of people are against Ja Morant. So when he says, all the negativity that's out there, yeah, there's negativity that's been brought to him, has been brought to the Grizzlies. But I don't, you guys tell me if you see something different or hear something different. I don't hear a lot of people saying, oh, Ja's done. I'm done with Ja. He'll never be anything. I think it's just the opposite. But this is where I really am a little concerned with this. I think it's too early to be talking. I didn't like this whole scripted sit down. I didn't like the tone of it. Very PR. And even though it was a PR operation, I didn't like what he said this. Look, I take responsibility, but a lot of stuff that's been out there, most of them are lies. Okay, if you're going to say that, don't say anything. It's just too early to be talking if you're not ready to accept responsibility for everything. I'm not saying you got to go out there and say, yeah, I did it. It was me. But it also sounds like he's making some excuses. You guys hear that?
Yeah. I mean, some of that is the PR and like the advice from his.
Okay, that's enough. I tried, y'all. I tried. Okay. Now, I played a good chunk of that because I want y'all to get the perspective of what was ticking me off a little bit. Now, if y'all disagree with me, let me know. Am I wrong for what I'm thinking and saying? Are they right? Are these are these people, are they correct in what they're saying about the Ja interview and the situation? I'm going to tell you, to me, I think this is so stupid, this whole commentary. Because you can't tell me if it's Shannon, if it's Stephen A., if it's Skip Bayless, if it's Jay Williams, if it's Kendrick Perkins, if it's Jalen Rose, if it's Michael Wilbon, if it's anybody on a national level. If you're caught in a situation like that, most of them probably wouldn't be caught in a situation like that, but if you're caught in any type of situation involving any type of controversy, you're going to have some PR something handling your stuff. And for these idiots that have been in the media for a long time to sit here and act shocked that Ja is using a PR strategist to handle his situation when he's 23 years old and wouldn't know how to navigate out of that successfully, then I don't know what to tell you. Either they're really stupid, these reporters, or they're being completely disingenuous. Because for years and years and years, me as a sports fan, me as a media person, being on radio for over 10 years, doing this for several years online and podcasting and all sorts of things, covering games, being in press conference rooms, that's me, myself. You have to be stupid to be shocked that this is happening. And for some reason to flip that and him doing the wrong thing, I don't understand that mindset. Again, y'all could correct me if I'm wrong. But what is he supposed to do? Okay, let's say Ja doesn't have PR, despite being only the 23rd player in NBA history to have a signature shoe by Nike, if not the biggest shoe corporation in the world, who had a Powerade deal that's been pulled off the table temporarily until he goes through the situation, who has the potential to be one of the most marketable players in NBA history. You want a 23-year-old that's not a great talker to get out there with no training, no PR, and just answer questions? Do you want him to lose? Do you want him to go to jail? Do you want him to get suspended for the rest of his career? What's the point? What is the point of anything that was said in that clip that I heard, that I just played? What's the point? You just want to keep it real? What is keeping it real? If it's not what you wanted to, be, you know what I'm saying? Now he's not keeping it real. I don't know. And literally, despite, I'm not even disagreeing that I do believe PR was involved here. Jalen Rose came out and asked him, was that your gun? That shocked the mess out of me. And I love Jalen Rose, but he said, whose gun was it, Ja? I'm like, whoa, Jalen. Are you, is this the OJ trial all over again? What's going on here? Are you the prosecution or are you an interview ESPN? talking about whose gun was it. Good grief. So anyway, I'm liking it. They're definitely piling on. I agree, Verdell. Baum said it was not his gun. That's what he said, yeah. That's what John said. It's not mine. Verdell said Stephen A. mad because he didn't get the interview. You're probably right, actually. So, I don't know. I'm just, maybe I shouldn't be shocked or upset, but I really don't like the coverage that I don't like the coverage that the Grizzlies have gotten over the past few weeks in all of these situations. Call me biased. Call me a homer. It's all ridiculous. And that's why I can't wait for Ja to get back on the court. You know why? Because he's going to dunk on everybody's heads. Because he's going to come back more focused than ever, with a bigger chip on his shoulder than ever. And this team is going to be focused heading toward the playoffs. And I think at the end of the day, all of this is going to work out for the good of the Grizzlies, because it's going to bring them closer together as a team. That just is what it is. Verdell says it was a stripper's gun. He said, that's what I'm rolling with. I don't know whose gun it is, Verdell. I don't even want to speculate because we might end up getting Ja in trouble. All I know is he said it wasn't his gun. He ain't going to tell y'all who gun it was. Look, can you imagine? What do people want him to say? I'm just going back to this again. You want Ja to get up there and say, it was my gun, y'all. The NBA, who's trying to help him out, they're going to say, oh, Lord, now we got to suspend you for 200 games because you done got up here and said some stupid stuff like it's your gun. We trying to help you. Look, and I don't doubt the NBA is trying to help Ja. I'm not in denial. The NBA sees Ja as a big old bag of money. From the hair, to his style, to his daughter, to his family, to his swag, to the way he plays. He is a bag. He's not even a bag of money. He is an ATM machine for the NBA. His existence. You better believe they want to help him through this process. They want to help the Grizzlies help him through this process. But for people to get up here and act like they're upset and whatever, it's just stupid. You've seen this for years, man. Look at what happened to Kobe. You know, rest in peace to Kobe, but go back. You know what I'm saying? I think Kobe probably got it worse. The situation with the woman in Denver and all that, you know? I mean, you know, you don't think PR was involved in that? I mean, good grief. I literally saw, I forget what show it was. They were talking and they were discussing the fact that, well, you got to look at David Stern was the commissioner, what he would have done to Ja. Look at what he did after the malice at the Palace. You're comparing this, respectfully, to the malice in the Palace, where the players started fighting, fist fighting the fans and the other team, and people throwing chairs on the court, and multiple criminal assault charges were made? Are we serious? Another comparison that was made was to the Gilbert Arenas situation in the locker room, where Gilbert Arenas and Javaris Crittenden, former Grizzlies years ago, brought a whole bunch of guns, big guns, in the locker room. You know, and were pointing at each other. Come on now. Are we serious? Have we lost all perspective? I think so. But at the end of the day, John's going to be okay. The Grizz are going to be okay. And that's all I got to say. GKP says, except for my Clippers. Nobody's worried about your Clippers, GKP, because they ain't going to beat nobody in the playoffs. Y'all going to make the playoffs, but y'all ain't going to beat nobody. I don't think you even think the Clippers are going to beat anybody, GKP. Ty Lue is through for the last two. I don't know, last 2 weeks? I don't know how many what it was. GKP said, obviously my sources were right. I told y'all 5 to 10 games. Yeah, you did say that back when. Ended up being 8 games. Jock is eligible to come back on Monday. I don't think he's going to come back that soon. I think they want to make sure he's in good shape because he hasn't really been playing basketball since he's been out. So, all right, y'all. I'm out of here. It's 1 a.m. here in Memphis, Tennessee. And we're going to get on out. This is GKP hours, not mine. But I appreciate y'all to have come in. Give this video a like if you have not already. Those that are in here right now, hit that like button for me right now before I get off. Share this video as well and let people know what we got going on here on TalkSPORTSLive Network. So from me and everybody here at TalkSPORTSLive Network, I'm Josh Midgett. I'll see y'all next time.
Go hard, up go home, go hard, up go home, go hard, up go home, go hard, up go home. Let's get it, let's get it. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you with it? Yeah, we with it. Let's go, let's get it, let's get it. Are you ready? Are you with it? Yeah, we with it. Big time players make big time plays. 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 Go hard, 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 go hard. Cause big time players make big time plays.
Big time players make big time plays. Gotta get it in a big time way. Let's get it on the grind. Head on the line. Gotta stay focused. Gotta keep a sound mind. Let's go hard or go home.